CITB in Scotland, in partnership with SBATC, developed skills tests on behalf of the construction industry. It's the final part of your apprenticeship, and you need to pass this to become a qualified craftsperson and achieve your SVQ. Passing your skills test should not be too difficult. It's a way of proving that you're capable of doing your job, and if you are, you should be able to pass the test. So here's what you need to know. You will sit your skills test within the last 6 months of your apprenticeship. There are test centres throughout the country, maybe even in your college, and both you and your employer will get plenty notice of where and when your test will take place. At college, you're assessed all the time on what you've learned, and the skills test is just another assessment of your knowledge and hand skills. The only difference is that this test has been designed by CITB, SBATC, and employers. The test has various elements, and all are things you have been trained and tested on before in your phase tests and other assessments in college. Skills tests are based on skills required to perform the sorts of tasks commonly used on sites. This proves to employers that you can work competently to commercially acceptable standards and at a reasonable speed. If you don't pass your skills test, you will struggle to find another job as a qualified craftsperson, or even get onto a site. It's really important that you do as much as you can to prepare for your test. You should download the Test Candidate Guide from the CITB website to familiarise yourself with the content of the test. You also need to make sure you carefully read the joining instructions you've been sent. You should speak to your employer as soon as possible if you feel you need any refresher training, so that on the day you are confident and have the ability to pass. Make sure you know where your test centre is and how long it will take to get there. If you don't live near a test centre, don't worry, CITB and your employer will help you sort this out. On the day of your test, timekeeping is really important. If you are late, you won't be allowed to start the test. You'll be asked to prove who you are at the test centre, so you'll need to take photo ID with you. You also need to take your tools to the test. You'll get a list of what's needed from CITB. Don't forget to bring and wear the right personal protective equipment. If you don't, you'll be refused permission to sit the test. Before you start, you'll get a detailed induction, and you'll be given a test booklet containing a description of the test. It's important that you read the information for each task before starting. Each task has a description, drawing, and a list of the standards and tolerances that must be met in order to pass each element. What it doesn't tell you is how to plan the work, so you have to arrange your own work program. Only after you have read these notes and feel confident in what you have planned should you attempt the task. On the day, you will be allocated a test area and a stock of materials you need. If you're unclear on any aspect of the test, please ask the invigilator for advice. That's what they're there for. You must attempt all tasks in the test booklet within the allocated time. Candidates will be operating a disc cutter when cutting tiles, so you must bring proof of competence such as evidence of formal training and employer's endorsements. Preparation of the roof for slating will include cutting and fixing underlay to sarking boards and installing a pre-formed liner into the valley, working to the specifications within the test booklet. The slating section will finish overhanging the verge and into an open valley on the test roof. All slates will be securely fixed at the head, with the exception of the top course, verge and valley, which should be double nailed. For the tiling element, you will lay double Roman concrete interlocking tiles laid to a minimum specified headlap over underlay counterbattens and battens. The tiles will be cut into a hip and valley detail. To complete the tiled area, you will ridge the model using a dry fix system in the apex and bed the ridged tiles in mortar to produce a wet hip. Where both sections meet, you will cut a three-way miter to finish the model. On the cement work element, you will be asked to prepare and apply 2 different cement render finishes to a panel. This will involve preparation of the area and applying a scratch coat first. The upper panel's top coat of render will have a dry cast finish working to a bell cast detail. The lower panel's top coat will have an ashlar finish that involves floating the render smooth and keying to form ashlar blocks of a specified size. The assessment process. Once you've finished and left the test centre, your test is marked by an independent assessor appointed by SBATC. They will use a marking schedule which contains the same standards and tolerances as in the test booklet. The assessor will mark your test against that schedule, stating whether each item is within the tolerance or not. All tests and test areas are standard, so it will be the same wherever you sit it. Here is an overview of some of the points we will be looking for. Appropriate amount of bedding on the ridges and ensuring the cuts over the hip are to the tolerances in the schedule. Checks will be made to see if the slates have been given adequate cover. Then nail holes have been bored correctly to ensure that the roof is watertight. Here we can see the topper slates have been single nailed, though the specification asked for double. This will result in dropped points. All roofs will be stripped back to expose the work underneath. Here the assessor finds a valley cut that has not been fixed. Another area the assessor will look at, for example, is the channel of the liner to make sure there is no mortar choking it. Checks against the render panel. The assessor will be looking for a uniformed finish and check the blocks have been keyed to the specification. The rough casting panel. He will look for an even spread of the chips with no misses. After the assessor has marked your test, the schedule is then sent electronically to CITB. CITB then check that your marks are within the pass limit agreed by the industry, and if they are, you pass. You and your employer will then receive a letter confirming this in the coming week. If you fail your skills test, your letter will explain in what areas you need further supervised experience on site, and possibly further refresher training in college. An application form to arrange a resit will be sent out, but you can also download it from the CITB website. However, it's important that, before booking a resit, you think about the areas you've failed in and why. If you think you need more experience or training, speak to your employer or apprenticeship officer to arrange this. If you have only failed in one particular element and passed the rest, in some occupations, you may get the opportunity to take a partial resit. This involves only resitting that section. Once you have passed your skills test, you still have to complete the time served element of your apprenticeship to be a fully qualified tradesperson. Your SBATC registration form shows the date in which you will complete your apprenticeship. By this time, you should have achieved your Professional Development Award, core skills, and all other units of your SVQ. This, combined with passing your skills test, means you would then receive final certification for your SVQ Level 3 and Modern Apprenticeship. You'll be fully qualified to work on a site in any country in the world, help you get any future employment, or even start your own business. Finally, good luck when it's time to take your skills test. If you need any further information on skills testing, please look at our website, citb.co.uk.